Somewhere, end of the summer, tucked away in a corner of Ayrshire, is a street. A street of many houses, many homes. Join us as we take a walk along this weathered street, and as we go, we'll peek behind 8 doors into the lives and the worlds beyond. The characters we'll meet could be our neighbours, our friends, our loved ones, dreamers, chancers, grafters, and those just getting by. Our walk begins. The doors are open. Come on in.
Oh, so you had a good time. I'm so pleased to hear that, Jill. I mean, you were needing a break. How was my day? Well, the usual. Right, I'm putting you on to speaker. So, I took a coffee into the first year registration class because, well, basically I've got nowhere else to go. And they're such a perky wee lot. They always come in wagging their wee tails. And then I looked over, and there was a wee head in the desk, lolling, wilting. Kenneth, you're such a sleepy wee peepee, what's wrong? And then I remembered he'll have been up all night in that takeaway restaurant his parents own. And look at him, he can hardly keep his eyes open. And he's normally such a chatty wee soul. But then again, I suppose that's good for business. So, I told them all to have a lovely weekend, and I asked the football boys if they were playing football, which they were, against a private school. So I said, I hope they gubbed them. And then I asked the rugby boys and girls if they were playing. Yes, St Benedict's Academy no less. And then a voice comes up. Oh, miss, you're always asking about the rugby and the football. You never ask about the horsey lassies. The horsey lassies are busy with the horses. You never ask about the horsey lassies. Right? So I asked where the horsey lassies were, and I thought, note to self, ask the horsey lassies how they got on Monday. And then I trotted round to the next classroom, and there they were, the 5th year girls, all eyelashes and extended nails. I do my hair toss, check my nails, baby, how you feeling? And I was wearing my animal print boots, you know, the ones with the wee heel. And this girl says, Miss, I love your bits. You look like a wee cheetah, so you do. So her, I, and all her friends all curled our nails like talons, and we let out one enormous roar. Roar! Boots! Oh, that's Ayrshire for boots. You wouldn't understand that, Jill, coming from Hackney. You'd need a translator. What? No, you never thought. I didn't mean my bits. Look, you dirty wee mare. So, I started the lesson. The play is set in Egypt. Let's look at the map and see where the opening scene is. So I showed them the map, and I showed them the Mediterranean, the countries off the Mediterranean coast of Africa, and Israel, and then Bethlehem. I said, look, there's where the baby Jesus was born. There were some perplexed faces, and one girl looked at me with pity, believing my ignorance, and said, oh no, miss, he was born in India. I gave a sagacious smile. And then I heard it. So, snip, snip, huge intakes of cathartic breath, almost wailing. And then I looked at the back. I saw 4 of them. Girls, what is the cause of this terrible grief? Honestly, Jill, they were so upset. They were hanging on to one another, they were hugging one another, they were wiping tears away from one another. There was rivers of clear snot running down their upper lip, only to be sniffed back up. I can't stand it, One of them managed to blurt out, "We can't stand it!" Another one said, "There must have been a catastrophe, a death or something. I mean, there must have been. Mrs. Ferguson's leaving." Well, that's life, I said. People move on, I said, blah, blah, blah. Things change, blah, blah, blah. But she was the best guidance teacher. We love her. Oh. And then I spotted it. Off to my right. Like a dedicated ornithologist, my eye was caught. There was a tongue poking out, curled upwards to form a pointy tube. And he was wrapping hair around the whole tube. "What?" he inquired. "What? Do you know, it's so unfair, Jill, that this boy has been given these amazing curls right down past his shoulders that you would pay a hairdresser a fortune for." "Stop it!" I yelled. He looked at me perplexed and said, "Hey, do you not do that? Do you not do that, miss?" I gave him my best Paddington Bear stare. "Do you not let your hair, miss? Do you not let your hair?" Oh. And then I could feel it coming. The anxiety rising inside me, gnawing and annoying. I watched the clock on the wall go tick, tick. Fourth year, navigating the corridors, packing up all my stuff, jumping in before they get there. An outside air of calm efficiency. Ha, bloody ha. "Right, everybody, jotters to the front. That's right, have a good day, be good and learn stuff." "I like your dress," said the departing, hair-licking and obviously very forgiving miscreant. "Well, thanks very much. You go off, but you be good and learn stuff." Zoom! Into the classroom round the corridor. "Have you got a pencil, miss?" "Pencil box? Where's the pencil box? I thought I had the pencil box. Oh my God, don't tell me I've left the pencil box. You do realise it's your responsibility to bring a pencil with you to class, don't you?" It's there. "Right, everybody, jotters out. Today's date and the subject is..." "You, turn round, please," I said in my most assertive voice. "Oh, for God's sake, man, I wasn't even..." This is a ritual that has been passed down, where there is this instinctive drive to be really upset at being reprimanded for talking, turning round, distracting others and yourself, and it is always accompanied by cries of, "For God's sake, man!" The perpetrator stands with arms outstretched, hands upwards, as he, she, or they appeal to the rest of the class as to how unreasonable I am being. And in the midst of all this, there was someone knocking at the door. "There's someone at the door, miss! There's someone at the door! There's someone at the door!" Well, I'm sure they're perfectly capable of opening the door and coming in. Unfortunately, they did not. So I opened the door. And it was Alice, from my third year class. She's a wee sparrow of a thing. Same colour too. "Miss, I thought you'd want to know that my mum was found dead on the floor of a flat in Stevenson. Drugs." Well, it took a moment for me to take all this in, what this girl was saying. Drugs? Dead? Mum? "Let's take a wee walk and see your guidance teacher." So we walked and talked, and she told me that her dad had moved her to Ayr to get her away from her mum and her addiction. And while I was listening to all this and taking it all in, I suddenly realised how privileged I am. And I delivered her into the hands of those who know better. I walked numbly back along the corridor, one foot in front of the other, anaesthetised with shock. I mean, how must she be feeling? And I realised my chin must have been on the floor. And then I'm standing outside the classroom. Deep breath. "Right, everybody, jot us to a new page, today's date." And they got on with it. Sentence structure. Boring, but it would keep them calm. "Miss, miss, miss!" As if I was deaf. "Zach's at the door. are you doing out of class, Zach? Toilet. You okay? Everything alright? He spoke in a sort of authoritative tone. You can't be wandering about the corridors, Zach. You must get back to your own class. I just had to make sure you were okay. Hallelujah! The bell goes, and off they went. And a wee head pops round the door. Thanks very much for giving me a good report, miss. You're welcome. You deserved it. When all I was actually thinking about was my next cup of tea. And marking. And paperwork. But listen, enough about me. Listen, how did Finley's exhibition go? No trouble at all, Jill. We'll speak at the weekend.
It's another night in for me and you tonight, eh? But that food bank's been right up market, innit? You need your tuna and your tin tomatoes. For tonight, Miss Ciccone, we had a swanky free bento steak and kidney pie and spaghetti hoops. Fantastic! And time to curry in with a wee post-prandial fat. Hey, what's on the telly? Let's have a look. Chuck us a doofer. Look at it. Ah. Here we go. The news? It's just too depressing. Love Island. We're a wee bit long in the tooth for that. Wayne's running round winching each other. I don't think so.
It's met by the heads.
The fitba.
Shop again.
This is depressing as the news.
So there's a hangout for bored teenagers.
Ah, there you go. Vera. There's a woman. He flies in her, bit like yourself in her prime. Aye. I wouldn't want to take a broken pay packet home to her, eh? Look, I've seen it. Look at telly's crap. Tell you what, let's put on some music. Music from back in the day. Music from the 80s. The blanket 80s. Fantastic! You knew what you were then, eh? No Botox and turkey teeth. So on top of the box, 12-inch singles. See if it wasn't for the wars and the strikes and Jimmy Savile, we did alright. There were some fantastic divas in the 80s with on the way. Oh, I tell you, let's see a swatch. Janet Jackson, Chaka Khan, Gloria Estefan, what's that? Doc, I don't know her. Cyndi Lauper, Jennifer Rush, Boy George. Oh, don't go huffy. I'm only having a laugh. There's only one diva for me, that's Miss Madonna Louise Ciccone. Goddess, superstar, love of my life. Woman in my dreams. Oh, this one is an absolute belter. Takes me back to when I was 14. Here we go. Holiday! Fantastic! Started the summer holidays, 1983. Fantastic, classic, meant it! I remember skipping through the dunes, skipping out the school gates, singing as loud as I could, and stripping off for a duke in the pound bum. Happy days. We could do a holiday, me and you, couldn't we? We could wait for the scheme. Holiday in the sun. I like that. Hey, it's not very often we have fags, have we? What a day with it. Where is it? Good job I won a 10 on the buggies, eh? Aye, lucky strike. Lucky star. Oh, you lucky star. I'll put that one on later for old time's sake. Do you know, you've been together near a year now. Nearly 40 years. I know I'm no Guy Ritchie or Sean Penn, but yours truly's no that bad. And they call me Mr. Chiconia in here. I know they're taking the mickey, but hey, it's got a nice ring to it. I remember the first time I saw you on top of the pops, skipping about in your simmet, singing through the gap in your teeth, with your beauty spot in your lip, and your crucifix swinging between your breasts. I knew there and then. You were the woman for me. And I don't care about the lawyers and the cronies and all those wacky letters they sent me, because me and you both know the score. We are meant to be together. Call me names. Folk are just jealous. Not everybody's got the world's #1 pop star as a baby in. Just ignore it, hen. What's that? Did I remember and top up the electric meter? What? No, I never. Don't get nippy. No, did they know we only the pound in the electric emergency? Christ! Forget one thing. I did get a scratch card though. When you luck, this will be as good. It's no easy keeping a woman like you, a material girl like you, in the manner you become accustomed. But I tell you, see if I win, I'll buy you a chippy tomorrow. A supper. Right. Tell you now. And this time I'll phone it in. Remember last time? I get pelted with chips and curry sauce. You want to be done good much. You've hit my back. Do you remember those years ago in the classroom when Darren Leach and his cronies were pelting me in the back of the head with bits of chuggy bits of paper and bits of blue tack, and you jumped to school desks and blinking ragdolled them? Oh, it was brilliant. Stopped his yoo-hawing and laughing then, didn't he? Aye. And then when I got jumped to the playground, you were there to get around it. Was I glad to take the belt for you? And even when it didn't go good, even when we were runners up in a scrap, you just took my hand and we ran like the clappers. I was built like a racer whip it then. No, I couldn't run the length myself. But then, we'd run back to my house and sit with my ma. Most dynasty. And here we are, my wee woman. 40 years later. Still. Well, I did a scratch card now. Is that the door chap? No answer. Be that nurse. I'm not having it. You want to give me my jag? I'm not having it. Every time he comes here and gives me that jag, you go away. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Just ignore him. Up. Tell you what, we'll turn the music up. We can take the scratch cards later. What about a wee bit of material girl later? Or borderliner? Or favourite? Like a virgin. The first lines of this song are pure magic. It wasn't that long ago you were brilling about underneath the bridge of sighs. Through the wilderness. You're right, we did, because Prestwick Academy was a bloody jungle. 1984. Didn't know how lost I was till I found you. Those words spoke to me. I was 15. Look at face was ice scalping. Alas, you'll know how to look at me and the beaming would stare. Heat in my cheeks, running up my neck, crawling over my face and getting brighter and brighter like a bright red LED bulb. They would laugh at me because of the beamer. And worse still, they felt sorry for me. I could see the pity in their een. And me, just felt sad and blue. But no, you just looked at me with your wee quirky smile and said I was cute. And just like that, I felt shiny and new, just like your song. And when everybody else was gone to the school disco, me and you would walk down to the local video store and you get a video like Flashdance or Footloose and take it back to my ma's and we'd sit and watch it in my big Betamax video recorder. My folks were right trying to split us up. My mother would say, "Son, do you not think you'd be better after a wee lassie if you were in here? What about wee Carol with a nice streaked hair? She works in the canteen at Aerospace. What about Jeannie, Big Wendy's lassie? She works as a cashier in Presto's." I've seen her creaking out at you from underneath her can. Tell you what, I can battle London with you. With her mother, I was like, "What?" I ran to my room, locked the door hoping she wouldn't invite me in room for tea, primula and crackers. Then she tapped my door. Son, it's not that we've got anything against my daughter, but do you not think she's a wee bit high maintenance? Took a lot more than that to put me off. Then I was 17, YTS. The guys I was working with, drinking the white line with the Bobby Jones, and they'd always try and pay me off for the lassies, and I'd say, "Hey! You can stake it, eh?" And then I got your eye. Drinking your Holston Bill and lime. And I knew I was the luckiest guy in Prefect. Tell you what, let's do that scratch card now. Where is it? Where I name it? Oh, get 5 stars, 25,000 in the cup. Need a coin. Oh, got some money left for the puggy. Here we go. Right. Here we go. Ready. Right. 1 star, come on. Oh! You making that chippy yet? 2 stars, you making a holiday yet? 3 stars! Turkey teeth, here I come! And another you! And the name is a wee man. Oh my goodness! See if I get this 5th one. Me and you are going on holiday to your house in Los Angeles. So, are you ready? Fingers crossed. Here we go! Christ, the lackey's winning!
Get packing, he says. We're going on holiday. Holiday? Now, that wasn't a word that meant very much to us for a good few years. We always had to listen to everybody else's holiday stories and plans. Not just any holiday, he says as he laughs and grabs me by the waist. A cruise. 10 nights in the Med. What do you think? A cruise? That was a dream of mine. A big dream. Got this old suitcase out of the cupboard under the stairs. Right at the very back it was. There's a bit of a dust by the looks of it. I do have a nice new one too, on 4 wheels and purple. As I thought, full of stuff from years ago. It is clean, despite the blackcurrant stains. Why I kept it, I'll never know. Blackpool. Happy days, cheap and cheerful holidays. Well, not exactly cheap, but what we could afford. Basic holiday flats where the electrometer's hanging off the wall next to your bed, there's cigarette burns in the carpet, and the shower is either roasting hot or freezing cold. And the occasional infestation of ants. It was only the once, but once is enough. Thank you. and a ubiquitous vase of flowers on the windowsill. Artificial. Not there's anything wrong with artificial flowers, I actually quite like them. Nowadays people would be running to the papers with all their complaints. We just accepted it. The main thing was they were always very clean despite being shabby. And the kids never noticed. Or maybe they did, just never said it. I think we got this t-shirt the year that Maggie weighed herself in the teacups. And Rory threw up after being on the kiddie coaster. He'd eaten 3 donuts without me knowing. I nearly did both on the skyrockets. It'd be fun, they all said. We can go on as a family and pretend we're going to space. I offered to hold the bags, but no, I had to go to space too. Never again. I think a real trip to space would have been less traumatic. By the time they put all the bags and stuff on, there was hardly any room for us. They were good days, and we tried to make it as exciting as we could for the wee ones, despite not having much money. I used to dread the weeks leading up to the school holidays when the kids would come home and tell me that so-and-so is going to Florida and Disneyland for the 4th time, or an all-inclusive hotel in Mallorca where everything's free and there's kids clubs and everything. Oh, they would go on and on. Why can't we go to Disneyland? I want to go to Florida and not just go to Disneyland in France. Well, the usual, please. Sadly, all I ever got was Blackpool, Scarborough, or a week at my pal's caravan in Burnt Island. 1 week at the caravan. An absolute disaster. It's the middle of July and it rains for 5 days out of 7. There's only so many board games you can play. I don't think our clothes actually ever dried out that full week. The kids just didn't understand that after the bills and the brownies, dancing, football fees and the loans were all paid off, there wasn't much left in the bank to save for colleges. Pete and I had planned on taking the kids exciting places and travelling the world. But after a mistake at his work, a serious mistake, Pete lost his job. That's when it really hit us hard. He lost his confidence and he had bouts of depression which affected us all. I was working full time. I was always worried about him being left on his own all day. It was hard to motivate. Eventually, he took to making me things out of little bits of scrap wood, and the bird feeder in our garden proved popular. Still there. The birds still visit. We really struggled financially because my job wasn't very well paying. Photos of the kids, the characters. Maggie loved them, but they weren't Disney princesses, much to her disappointment. And Rory, he got bored and a bit embarrassed with them. You know, it's not cool at a certain age to have your photograph taken with them. He got over all that throwing up business and became a bit of an adrenaline junkie. You know, if it goes at 100 miles an hour and upside down, that's the ride for him. He still likes a donut or two, although afterwards, thank goodness. Eventually Pete did get another job. Wasn't very well paying. And if he was off for any reason, he didn't get paid, but we managed. Just. It was embarrassing though, making up excuses as why the kids couldn't go to the overseas school trips that were available. Our finances just wouldn't stretch to it. A good look? Don't think so. Maggie harped on and on for this, and then wore it twice, I think. Typical. Eventually, a bit of good fortune did come our way. Our lives changed the day that that letter came. Changed in many ways. Looking at the envelope and seeing the names Buns and Co, solicitors and notaries, my heart sank. I was trying to remember if I'd forgotten to pay something and this was another final demand. Pete opened the letter. I'm glad I was sitting down. The letter was regarding the estate of Miss Margaret Maud McHardy, who was Pete's great Aunt Maggie. I hadn't seen his great aunt for many, many years. When he was young, they'd shared a close bond. Now, she was his mum's aunt, and she was with her in the house when Pete was born 3 weeks early. Still weighed a healthy 9 pounds. Maggie was the clever one of the family. She never married. She was a statistician and apparently liked a bit of a gamble now and again. Very successfully, I may add. Sadly, poor Aunt Maggie had passed away at a good old age, and everything was being left to Pete. Everything, including her house, which was a huge sandstone flat in the West End of Glasgow, where she'd lived more or less in one room. The sum of money was life-changing for us. Not quite millionaire status, but it felt like it. She must have been a really good gambler. I was just excited that for once I could do a full weekly shop at Marks and Spencer's just for the sheer hell of it. Who cares if it's 3 times the price of my normal supermarket? For once, I didn't. There was enough to pay off the mortgage and the loans and plenty left over. Maggie could at last go to Disneyland and have her pictures taken with the Disney princesses. At 18, she still was very much a young girl. Rory could go too, not much for the Disney princesses, I don't think so. But to try out every white knuckle ride that there was there. Excitement was not the word. I wondered about the Med. Would it still be as blue as it had been when we were there 22 years ago? We had our honeymoon in Malta. An eventful holiday that was. Pete got stung by a jellyfish, and I ended up with a really upset stomach and had to stay the whole day at the hotel near the toilet. Pete went out on his own that day and brought me back a lovely wee coral necklace. I still have it. I still wear it. Maybe I'll take it on the cruise with me. Postcards that were written and never sent. There's not even a stamp on them. I wonder how many postcards will be sent from different ports of call. Or maybe I'll just get a whole load of second-class stamps and post them when I get back to the airport in the UK. Save a whole lot of hassle. This is one of my formal outfits. Perhaps the one I'll use when I'm sitting at the captain's table. I can't wait to wear it. And I've got lots of other new frocks too, and shoes to match. Push the boat out, I did. Ha! Push the boat out! I am hilarious! How lovely it'll be to sit with leisurely coffees and cocktails. And relax by the pool without actually getting wet. Visiting a new place every day and listening to the tour guides talking about the old churches and tumble down buildings without anybody huffing and blowing aboard them. There could be a lot of that when Maggie and Rory got older. Some things just were not their scene. Luckily, they've both got jobs and they've been able to save up a wee bit over the past few years. They've even managed a few weekends away with their friends. But now, thanks to great Aunt Maggie, we're all getting a chance to go where we want. How wonderful is that? You know, I might just miss the teacups and the donuts, and even the moodless. Okay, get a grip. It's a cruise, something you have always wanted. You are not going to miss the moods and the whinging. And just think, 10 days of absolute peace. My holiday reading. I hope they're good. I buy one and get 2 free at Asda. So if they're rubbish, that's okay. Now, we've got a historical romance. Not sure about that one. A mystery romance or a story of forbidden romance. There seems to be a theme there. I'm hoping I don't have much time for reading. I might do a Shirley Valentine. Perhaps the captain will be a Tom Conti lookalike. He actually looks a wee bit like Tom Conti, without the big droopy Greek moustache. I'm sure he would enjoy it. Pete, you see, isn't going on the cruise anymore. He's going on his own cruise. Probably a booze cruise. He's changed. Suddenly he had money and he could go out with his mates again. You know, the mates who didn't hang around when he was depressed or had no money. The mates were suddenly his best mates. He needs space, he says. After 22 years, he needs space. He's moved into his Aunt Maggie's flat. Plenty of space there, right enough. Although, he does need a bit of doing up. But Pete and his mates are going to do the refurb, and he thinks he could probably get a good wee profit on it if he sells it and buys something smaller to suit his needs. He did see me okay though. And I am staying right here. Bless him. He didn't really fancy a cruise, but he knew it was a big dream of mine. So, it's me, myself, and I going on the cruise. He suggested that his place could be taken by one of my friends, and I had thought about it. And then I thought, why should I? I know it sounds petty, but for years I've had to listen to their stories about their fantastic holidays. Now it's their turn to listen to mine. I'm going to make sure that they're good and worth listening to. Now, I think I might put my shoes and bags in this one and my frocks and stuff in my new case. Maybe I should actually mix it up a wee bit in case one gets lost. That's probably the best idea. That'll guarantee that I've got clean knickers, etc. Best be prepared in case I do decide to do a Shirley. Nah, I don't think so. Right, Kate. Let's get packing in earnest. Less of this dawdling about. It's time for you to get ready for your big adventure. I think I might leave some space in both the cases. For Pete. You never know.
In the name of the wee man. Oh, don't such a relief. Oh, I haven't had a movement for our 3 days. God, those was like lunch in the Titanic. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't be talking to you about my bowels. But you know, when you get to a certain age, you start to discuss these things with yourself, don't you? Well, I do, anyway. Oh, it's for medicinal purposes. I didn't hate what I'd go and murder someone. Where's the little paper? Oh, here it is. Oh, I like to have a wee read and see what's happening round about here, but this paper's full of shite. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but I mean, will you listen to this? Protesters storm council offices after unsightly erection unveiled in town centre. Jesus, if I was 20 years younger, I wouldn't be protesting about the erection. Saved by the bell.
Are you decent?
Oh, come in, Hen. Come in. Oh, it's you. Yeah, what do you want?
Oh, nothing much. My mother asked me to go in these batteries she lent her last night.
Oh, that's kinder. Did they work all right?
She got her days are going. That's her legs done for another fortnight.
Oh, I gave up in mine when I went through the change. I mean, your mother must be going through that and out the other end, but no, surely.
I'll tell her you said that.
You do that, Hen. Would you like a wee cup of tea and a biscuit?
Nah, I can't stay long.
Well, a bit of gin tea and we'll forget about the biscuits.
Aye, alright then.
Oh.
Just the one. There's not much tonic.
Aye, you're just a wee favour. Always seeing double, especially in these glass. Mind you, he's one of the friendly drunk chicken, no one of the, violent ones.
Aye. But mind you, my mother'd been teetotal. You can imagine the rammies in our house.
Aye, well, I can imagine. Here's the go.
What's the goss?
I'm black affronted that you should think that I deal in gossip. You're a wee bizzum.
Will you have me go on it?
I didn't say that. You see them fish and chip shop round the scheme?
Aye, the one called Try Our Place.
Merely place your bets. That's the 5th case of salmonella reported. I've heard he hasn't changed his fat in that fryer since Her Majesty's coronation.
I was in there 2 weeks past with my fella.
Oh, you still going out with those big streak of piss? What's his name? Clyde?
Oh, here. Aye, his name's Clyde. He's not a streak of piss. He's a banker.
A bit.
Banker.
Oh, aye, he's one of them and all. Oh, anyways, what were you saying, Hen?
I was saying, I went into the on chip shop 2 weeks past, ordered 2 chip rolls. She takes the order, she comes back and tells me she hasn't any rolls.
What's the world coming to?
So she gives us 2 bits of bread and butter. I had a poke and chips. Clyde just has the chips. And when the bill comes, she says, I haven't charged you for the bread and butter.
Oh, that was kinder.
No, she hadn't charged us for the bread and butter, but the business had charged us for 2 cokes. We only had the one.
Oh.
Clyde wasn't happy.
Oh, I can imagine. I've seen your face. Gave Quasimodo a run for his money. Oh, anyways, whose things at the beauty salon?
Oh, I'm getting a wee bit fed up with it, to be honest.
Aye.
Own Mrs. McPhee, Ken fed up the scheme.
Aye.
She was in the day before yesterday, wanted her nipple hair seen to.
Nipple hair.
Yes. She's more hair on her nipples than on her head. She gets her wallopers out. And she says to me, and one of these bigger than the other.
What did you say?
Well, I parted the hair. Ken what? One was bigger than the other. And I had a peek at mine. Not the same. Are yours like that?
Aye, the one on the left's bigger. In fact, I have to be careful that I didn't trip over it. How's that low nowadays?
Oh, see when I was looking in the mirror, I noticed I was putting on a wee bit of weight.
Oh, go on with you, you're a fine specimen of a woman.
I just wish I was as skinny as I was when I thought I was fat.
Aye, well, we can all away. I wish I was 30 years younger.
Oh, here, you're still a fine looking woman.
Aye, right. Should have seen me when I was younger. Bleach blonde hair, all the way up in a beehive. My legs went all the way up to my ulsters. Oh. My jugs, heavy but firm. I was mistaken for Diana Dawes once. Mind you, it's for some Blake and Wayne Yaff at Bobby Jones' ballroom trying to get into my knickers.
I was mistaken once for Lady Di.
What, so she's been deed?
Oh, have you, Ken? I was always been winched.
Was that what you call it? No wonder you're burrowly legged. Oh, God, and you only live the once. What are we talking?
No, I really should be. I can't stay long. Okay, go on then, time. And not so much tonic this time. Yes, it's done a new penny.
Aye, do you like it?
Aye.
I bought the material and I gave it to your Mrs. Garrity up the road, and she made it up for me.
The woman with the 1E.
That's the one. She's done an awful bad job, don't you think?
Aye. I meant to ask, how's your health these days?
What do you mean?
My mother tells me you've been back and forth to the hospital. She's seen the ambulance coming to take you.
Aye, nothing much gets past your mother's in. Oh, it's nothing really, Hen. They say I may have a wee bit of young cancer.
I'm sorry.
What's to be sorry about? I'm 70 years old, I've had a good life. Only regret is that my late husband died so young. Oh, I do miss the old bugger. But I'll be with him soon.
Don't you talk that way. You've years left in you yet.
Now, this is between you and me, right? I'm going to be there sooner rather than later. And I didn't want anyone to ken about that. And if the day, I'll ken where it came from. And you didn't want to upset a dying woman, now do you?
I'm shocked. I really am sorry. I'll only tell a soul. Is there nothing I can do for you?
Ah, you can take the old look off your face, I'm no deed yet. I bet nothing. Now listen, what about her up at number 58?
Oh.
She wouldn't have the COVID vaccine. They called her Mrs. Doubtfire. Her sister's kids called her anti-vaxxer.
You mean Olive Turner?
Aye.
Oh, she's minging.
Oh.
She comes to me to scrape her feet.
Oh.
I'm no joking. You need a Black and Decker to do the job right.
You're joking. Oh, that's disgusting. Mind you, she's got off BO. A wee nephew Harold the last time she hugged him. There's no telling her. I've broke it up once or twice.
You've huddled?
No! I broke up the subject.
Ah.
The last time I was in Boots the chemist. I saw her at the day road in County, you know, the day road and things. I said, now there's no use just looking at them hen. No, that'll no do you any good, that'll no stop you being bogging.
What did she say?
She told me to mind my own business.
Oh, that is her hour. Oh, do you know, see Wayne's I feel sorry for all 10 of them.
She's always had one in her and one on her. And you kids should breastfeeds them all. How junks of life, don't many stretch marks. Oh look, that need to Z of Glasgow.
Did you never hear any kids?
No, it wasn't to be. Doctor said Gordon was shooting blanks. Oh, I do miss him.
With him shooting blanks? Did that mean you didn't do it all that much?
Oh, you're joking. I was on my back that often if I go with my feet with them. Oh, I do miss him.
My plate's a big boy.
6'3", is he?
I didn't mean that.
You what are we talking?
Oh, Granny, I'll be legless in the way home.
Oh, what are you talking about? You only live down the street.
You're a bad influence on me, Mrs. McCulloch. Here, have you seen the latest at Aldi? Pre-sliced fruit. I ask you, pre-sliced frickin' fruit. They'll be peeling your tatties next.
Oh, you can get pure tatties from Marks.
Oh.
Don't Mrs. Fraser down the road was telling me.
Oh, she's another young. Always going on about her game waiting. You know she doesn't tell you. Ken me Jimmy fell up the scheme. He found an elastoplast in one of her cream horns.
That's disgusting. She should be reported to the health and safety or whatever it is.
Aye, no one's know the worst of it.
But
She had the nerve to ask for the plaster back.
did you hear it?
Well, she had to wait. He had swallowed it. Next day, mind.
Disgusting. No one's put me off buying anything for her in the future. Oh, I meant to ask you, who's your mother?
Okay. Aye, I didn't feel a big deal, aye. My mum, she had all her teeth taken out last week. Spits now when she's talking to you. Oh, it's like dodge the bullet. Oh, father, well, he's had a smile on his face all week. Says it's done them both the world of good.
I can imagine. My father always was a randy bugger.
Aye, you've kept him a while, haven't you?
Ah, your father was Gordon's best friend.
Ah.
In fact, when Gordon died, your father was round here quite a lot comforting me. I should have cried on you.
Aye, okay. That one's nice to hear, aye. Actually, when was it your husband died again?
Oh, it was 30 years ago to the day next month. He sat where you are at the moment, glass and home. He looked at me, smiled, gave me a wee wink, belched, and then he was gone. 2nd of April 1992 at 9:38 at night. I do miss him.
I wish I had met him. Ken, I wasn't born till the end of December that same year.
Aye, he would have loved you. He was always sad he couldn't give me kids.
Aye, that would have been nice. I always wanted a wee brother or sister. Ken, I often wondered why I was an only child. Ken, with my father been such a randy bastard. My aunt told me once, when she'd had too much to drink, my mother No hay kids. That can't be right though, 'cause she had me. And the spitting image of my father. Minus the beard, of course.
Well, stranger things have happened. I mean, look at young Virgin Mary.
She doesn't live up the scheme.
No, she doesn't.
Oh, here. I hope you don't mind me saying this to you, but Will, Mrs. McCulloch, I've always thought of you. It's like a second mother. You can. Oh, someone I can tell things to.
Oh, no, it's nice to hear. I've kept you since you were born, and well, I've always thought of you as one of my own.
Look at us here, getting on modelling.
Aye.
Must be the own drinks you're pouring, but I'm sure they're no pub measures.
Why can't you help it if I get a shaky horn? And I didn't see you refusing on it. You're just like your mother.
Can it be? You ken my mother's teetotal. Oh, anyways. I basically have. Before I start saying treble, never mind double.
Aye, maybe you'd better, Hen. I didn't want to have to be picking you up. Are you work the morn?
Oh, aye. I have Mrs. Duncan's vajazzle today at 10. It was not a pretty sight one time in the morning.
Vajazzle?
Aye. She's going to a swingers party the morning's night where a man is wanting to stand out.
Aye, all right then, Hen. Well, listen, I think you'd better get home and get a good night's sleep and get a steady horn for the morn. I would hate to hear that Mrs. Duncan's lawn had been thatched.
I'm going to take a photo of a day. Oh, good night, Mrs. McCulloch. Do you know, you really do mean the world to me. You take care, and your secret safe with me.
My secret?
Ah, you can. The big C.
Oh, lone secret. Aye, if you choose.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Ah, what a lovely lassie my Peggy has turned out to be. Ah, Gordon, I do miss you. You'd have made a wonderful father.
I regret going out a couple of Saturdays ago because I spent way too much. I had such a laugh though. We did that oops upside your head. You know the one where you sit down with people in front of you and behind and you go like that? I had to bin my cream pleather trousers though. My arse was stuck to the floor and God knows what. So, I got my pair of sexy trousers down and I lost my dolphin bracelet. Rang up to see if it'd been handed in and the woman on the phone was so rude. Mind you, I would be if I was working at Devil's Advocate at 11 on a Sunday morning. That's the actual definition of hell. She went, "Have you checked your bag?" But I was feeling way too rough for sarcastic comebacks. I couldn't deal with the thought of seeing Granny Mags neither. I thought she'd kill me. She bought it for me in Tenerife when I was 11. I thought that was the best holiday ever. Apart from the fact that Nick the Dick was there. He was a bit touchy-feely with me, if you know what I mean? And not very nice to Mags, and so I've always called him Nick the Dick. In fact, anytime I hear the name Nick, I feel this urge to say the Dick. When I went round on Tuesday, I thought she definitely noticed I wasn't wearing it. She notices everything. I've been desperate to find it before I go to town, Lanzarote. This will be the first time I've been anywhere since Tenerife. We're going away for our 30th. I swear I was only 15 yesterday. Mags keeps telling me to stop moaning. Embrace it, she says. I'm as young as the men I feel. I love how much she's lived though. She hasn't always been like this. She's spent so long looking after our family. She deserves to let everything down. I can't wait to swim with the wild dolphins. # dream, by the way. I won't be thinking about that loan I took out a few months ago. Or the interest. Or the fact that the gas company are absolute, but do you know what? I'm not even going to waste my breath. Just give me dolphins. I want to see one flip. I'd be happy just to see a fin, to be honest. I mean, I'm not actually going to be swimming with them as it's unethical and they can become sexually aggressive, apparently. But I can tread the water from a distance. swimming off the boat. 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that. I wasn't taught when I was younger. My school didn't have a swimming pool. What school does? Proper posh ones, maybe. Then the leisure centre shut down for refurb. Wet and Wild, it was called. Never opened back up, so we're all just, well, dry and tame. Then there was that residential trip to Keswick that cost 200 quid. You could do swimming lessons and all the rest of it. But Mum said she didn't have it, so I didn't go. She went out with Paul that night, didn't she? Paul was actually all right. He said he'd fit in for it, but then Mum gave him the eyes that she does when she's pissed off. I was up all night worrying, thinking about how it was going to feel when everyone at school saw me in a Channel 5 documentary talking about the night my mum went out and never came back. Well, she did eventually. She fucked off again. Fred's my dolphin. I cut him out of a magazine years ago. I loved that film, Drop Dead Fred at the time, and I thought he'd be like my imaginary friend. Saw his little dolphin teeth grinning. Then Mick the dick. So I pulled him off the mirror and whipped him up. After I calmed down, I had this massive headache. Crawled over to him and stuck it back together in a page from my diary using sellotape. I kept saying sorry. Promised I'd never do it again. I don't know how many times Fred's been stuck back together. He kind of looks a bit weird now because over the years I haven't the patience to sit down and make him perfect. Bits of his eyes are overlapping other bits. Teeth are a bit crooked. But we have an agreement, don't we, Fred? It's just sort of what I do. I remember when I told my mum I wanted to swim with dolphins. She did that thing with her eyes, stumbled over, and pressed her forehead against mine. I can't remember what she said, but some of her spit went at my bottom lip. All I could do was look at Fred. He smiled and nodded, so I nodded back. And then the room went black for a minute. Then she wasn't there. My cheek felt all stingy. I ripped Fred up that night and stuck him back together again and promised him I'd learn how to swim so we'd go meet his family. Monday after a night out, decided it was time. Started using YouTube to learn the basics. Most, actually all of the bath-based stuff, is for parents teaching their kids how to swim. This one video is of the American mum and her perfect little daughter. They're so happy, it's a bit unnerving. The American mum says, "Step 1, try putting your mouth in the water." The perfect little daughter does it, and so the American mum goes, "Good job! Step 2, put your nose in the water." "Whoa, look, you did it, baby!" Then the American mum encourages her perfect little daughter to put her mouth in the water again. "Step 3, blow bubbles for 3 consecutive seconds." OMG! My little Olympic swimmer! The perfect little daughter giggles, and her perfect little teeth are so perfect and just, oh, so annoying. Thing is, my gas bill went up, so using the bath wasn't sustainable. I keep imagining talking to my daughter one day, if I have one, and telling her about how special it was to take a bath. Because in the world she lives in, no one knows even how to even run one. And she'll say, "What's a bath, Mum?" Luckily, the leisure centre's over back up. Splish Splash it's called. Someone in the council's getting a pay rise. I've just had this strong urge to keep my promise to Fred. And I want to prove Mum wrong. I've had to force myself though. Jessie, one of our residents at work, told me about this trick she uses whenever she wants to make herself do things. She says, "I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. I'm just going to walk to the place." That's step 1. So that's what I did. I walked there. I knew I wouldn't go in because I didn't have a swimming costume because I didn't have one. When I got there, I stood outside for a bit. I was worried people would think I was a bit weird. This mum and daughter came out. The little girl's hair all wet and clawy. She was all smiles because she gets sweets from the vending machine in reception. As they went across the road, the mum grabbed the little girl's hand. My mum never did that. I imagine what it would be like if we were like them. I'm so grateful for Mags. I went round to hers afterwards. Luckily, she was trying to find the best exchange rate. She noticed my long sleeve top and said, "Sure, Betty from STV says it's 19 degrees out there." I told her about my swimming. She looked up from her phone, over her glasses, which she has to do whenever she's doing anything on it, winked and said, "That's my loo." I told her about swimming, and when I got in, I decided to order a swimming costume, even though the thought of wearing one proper freaked me out. I haven't worn one since that holiday in Tenerife. When I went back to the leisure centre on Thursday, I used Jessie's trick again, but this time I actually went in. Got changed in the roasting changing room. Why are they so hot, by the way? Sat down on the little bench in my cubicle for a minute, stared at some hairs swimming about on the pulling the floor, looked at my gross legs, and half hoped that when I closed my eyes and they hit the water, I'd form a mermaid tail so no one would have to see them. When you go in, you have to wash your feet in the showers. Unfortunately, I didn't form a tail. This woman, in a beautiful, brightly coloured swimming costume, came over. I think she must have saw me looking because she said, "Sainsbury's sale, 25% off. Absolute bargain if you're looking for a little outfit." Her name's Thorndra. She's ages with my mum. Asked me if I could swim. I said I could a teeny bit. She winked, leaned in and said, "This time last year, neither could I." Not that you'd know it. She's up and down those lanes like Rebecca Adlington. Doesn't seem to have a care in the world. All the women are pulling like that. They're all like 50 plus and let everything hang out. I love it. I'm obsessed with cellulite and veins, and they're all just like, whatever. I sat and watched them all for the rest of the session from one of the plastic chairs at the side. Afterwards, when we were getting changed, I noticed Sandra put on a bracelet. I told her about losing mine, and how since then things have started to change, like me learning how to swim and wearing a swimming costume. Sandra said something to me while she was getting dressed. She shouted over the hairdryer, "Maybe you were meant to lose it. Go swim with those dolphins. Enjoy your holiday, darling." When I got in, I started thinking about Mick. I'm not going to say it. What he did, and Mum, because of what she did. And how I only went on that holiday to Tenerife because there was no one else to look after me. I realised that every time I looked at that bracelet, it made me feel happy because of Max. But then this weird kind of ashamed feeling. That was the woman from Devils. My bracelet's been handed in. The thing is, I thought I'd feel relieved, but I don't think I want it. I think Sandra's right. I was meant to lose it. Let's go meet your family. Hello? Hello?
parent/guardian of Benjamin Andrew Gillespie. Your son is a grade A failure. You know that thing when they say, Mother, I'm sorry miss, the dog ate my homework. I could try that. Mother, Father, I'm sorry, the dog ate my report card. Could work. Here, boy. Here, boy. Too late to get a dog. Or I could try the 21st century equivalent. Mother, Father, I'm sorry. I dropped my report card into the shredder. It was an accident. Honest. Too late to get a shredder. They'd be no good anyway. They just called for another one. Hello, is this the school? This is the parent/guardian of Benjamin Andrew Gillespie, and we'd like to call for a new report card to replace the one our son has just fed to the dog/shredder. Delete as appropriate. Like, why is it so important? It's just some paper printed with a fancy wee logo and shoved in an envelope. How can my life at school possibly be dictated by a couple of boxes or tips or letters or whatever it is? How can a bit of paper say this here? That this is Ben Gillespie? That's rubbish. This is Ben Gillespie. Me, standing right here in the middle of a world on fire. A world that doesn't stop. A school that doesn't stop. It's all just noise. Noise, 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 noise. It doesn't stop. I just wish it would stop. Look, I'm not gonna make excuses. I try my best. I'm not academic. I get it. But it's not like I go out of my way to be addicted to my phone. I mean, it's there, right there, palm of your hand, no effort. It would be more effort to stop than keep going. And everybody does it, not just me. I mean, it's why we're always yawning our heads off at school. It's why we're always so tired, screen fatigue, that's what we call it. We never switch off. Because we're always consuming content. We're always consuming content, that's what they call it. Which, in a funny way, is why I wanted the Dollar Shredder. To consume content. The contents of this! Grandad told me a story the other week about when he was a kid, about how they used to play football out on the street all summer long. And while each of them were having fun, not one of them knew who the ball belonged to. Not one. Everything else just melted away. It's not like that now. The world is noisy here. I don't think I'll ever get to feel the way Granddad did. George doesn't help, of course. He's my brother. Bringy brother, because of course he is. St. George. Instant expectation, right? Worst thing they ever said to me, why can't you be more like your brother? It's like my head can't fit it all in sometimes, you know? The pressure, the noise, all on fire. Can I tell you something kind of odd? I've got this picture on my bedroom wall, a painting. Don't ask me how I got it, but it's there, okay? I'll try and describe it for you. It's about this big, stuck in a light brown frame on my wall. In the bottom half, there's the beach. A sort of pale yellow, almost peach. A peach beach, but it's not peach. I just said that because it rhymed. And every now and then, there are little pools of watery grey dotted across the yellow. I don't know what they are, shadows, maybe reflections. And in the centre of the beach, there's the windbreak, faded pink and blue, all on its own. And two tiny wee people, tiny wee shadow people, walking away from it towards the sea. And three even smaller shadows, maybe three children, staring out at a thin line of darkest blue. And above them, and beyond them, and everywhere else, the most enormous grey-green clouds are spreading out, spelling out a frame, covering the entire sky. A day at the beach, captured in a wee box. And when I look at this picture, I think, what's the point? Who's it for? I mean, it's just art in it. But when I look at this painting, I feel something. I see something I can't explain. I bet Mr. Nesbitt wouldn't feel anything if he looked at the picture. I bet he'd hate the whole thing. It's about some nonsense like sand does not make for good foundations. He's so predictable. Why was I saying all this? I can't remember. They'll be home soon. I'll just give it to them. Have it over and done with. Or I could write my own report. Yeah, I know what I'd write about. I'd write about all the things you didn't see at school. Because I think if you want to know the real Ben Gosby, you need to look at the gaps in between the boxes. Yeah. To the parent/guardian of Benjamin Andrew Gosby, your son is not a grade A failure, nor is he an academic genius. Your son lies somewhere in between. Ben is a resourceful member of our school community. On Wednesday, the 18th of May, in the school canteen, Ben noticed a student in difficulty several tables away. Thanks to an educational video he'd seen on social media on his phone, he was able to perform a maneuver upon his colleague, which removed the blockage from their windpipe, with minimal fuss over what could have been a major incident. Ben returned to his table a lifesaver and continued eating his lunch. Ben is a kind member of our school community. Unknown to anyone except him, his brother George has been the target of an extended bullying campaign for being too brainy, too geeky. Ben has been there for his brother time and time again, while George felt unable to speak out. Ben has listened, has comforted, and he's even tried to stand up to the bullies in his own Benish way, because Ben loves his brother and Ben is kind. Ben is a talented member of our school community, a keen artist. Ben has in recent months resorted to creating art in secret after being insulted by his art teacher in front of his peers. Mr. Nesbitt's words cut deep, resulting in Ben giving up his classwork on what was once his favourite subject. Ben's proudest work to date depicts a day out at the beach, in which the artist has attempted to convey the feeling of what it's like to be a young person alive today. Ben is now too embarrassed to share this work and keeps it within the confines of his own room. The artist's latest work in progress is said to depict a street scene of some lads playing football beneath a sunlit sky, inspired by his grandfather. According to the artist, Ben creates art because the world is quiet there, because it's the only time he ever gets to switch off, because he thinks that the world is his to fix, as he has been told repeatedly that the world is indeed his to fix. To the parent/guardian of Benjamin Andrew Gosby, your son and other concerned parties, Ben's world, our world, is messy and busy and noisy, but it is not his to fix alone. Ben tries his best. Ben is not his brother or anyone else. Ben is a boy who does not fit in boxes. Ben is a crazy kid in a confused world, and it's okay. It's okay that things don't make sense to him. For the world is not made of boxes, instead it is made of all the Benjamins, all the in-betweens and all the on-beyonds. At the end of the day, this report exists to congratulate Benjamin Andrew Gosby on being the best thing he could ever be. Himself. Read that, Mr. Nesbitt. Here's my school report. Read it if you want, but all you need to know is this. My name is Benjamin Andrew Gosby. I am 14 years old. I am standing at the edge of the ocean and the clouds are rolling in.
Oh, Agnes. Oh, I'm getting that clumsy. I'm not doing so good. I can't cope without you to keep in the straight and narrow. I get in a wrecked state. Oh, why'd you have to leave me, Agnes? I mean, time goes that slow when you're on your head. Believe me, awfully slow. Aye, I am lonely too. Right, that's enough of that nonsense. I can hear you say it now. Put yourself together, Davy. Come on, man. What folk think of the sea in a state like that? That's what you used to say. You said at the time I got pied off, I remember that. You could always get me sorted out, Agnes. Back in my feet again. Back in the straight and narrow. Still, I'm 16 years without you, Agnes. And it doesn't get any easier. Oh. It's getting late. I better see to the curtains. Oh, I must have shut them earlier. Oh, dinna be telling me off, Agnes. In a wee drink to take the edge off my sadness. And you. I always did like a wee dram, didn't I? And out the neighbours' houses, having my parties and that. Ah, they were the days, Agnes. They were good nights, eh? I miss them. And then there was my Robert Burns nights, huh? Reciting poetry, public speaking. It was a well-regarded reciter of Burns, mate. My tam o' shanter, it was legendary. When Chapman billets leave the street, and drouthy neighbours meet. As market days are wearing late, and folk begin to tack the gate. Mind you, I don't see many people these days, Agnes. Not even the neighbours. I suppose they've all moved on, and other families have moved in. Mind you, I always did think when you died, Agnes, neighbours didn't really ken what to say to me. You know, time wears by, it wears on by. Still see our Tom, of course, he's a good lad, he looks after our affairs, he keeps me straight with the bank and the house and that. Although, he's a good boy, but he sometimes forgets to bring me my weekly shop. In fact, Agnes, he forgets to bring it more often than he doesn't. No, I know. But I like a wee piece with ham and cheese. Well, doesn't matter. It's getting late, I better go and see to the curtains. Oh, I must have done it earlier. Agnes, your Tom wants to put me in a home. Now, I don't want to go, I don't want to leave your home or we home that we put together. But he says I've no choice. He says I signed a house order to him years ago. I can't mind of that. I can't mind of it. I can't. But he showed me the signatures. Well, Tom wouldn't lie. He's a good boy. He says the house is overall. He says it cost that much to put, right? Better off selling it. He says it's worth practically nothing. I've seen on the TV, you know, the houses around here, they're worth a fair amount. Then we paid for ours, but no. I trust your Tom. He wouldn't lie. He's a good boy. What's been that right there, Agnes? Written by all these years. And what we ended up with. A house that's no worth. You're gone. I'm going to him. And what's been the point of life? Absolutely bloody nothing! Agnes, I've just said mine. Oh, Agnes, 40 years ago. Oh, you remember? Oh, you must do. 40 years ago, I won the pools. Or maybe it was the lottery, I can't mind it. It was hundreds of thousands of pounds, sure, remember? And we didn't ken what to do with it all. So we didn't tell anybody. Not even our Tom. We just kept it as our wee secret. And we look forward to another day maybe. Ah, Agnes. We took it, remember? We were afraid that the bank would lose all the money, so we took it out of the bank one day at a time until we had it all out. Agnes is still out there. We was going to see your Tom right. We were going to travel. We were going to live the life of Riley. That didn't happen, did it? No. But she got off his sick. And the pain you were in, Agnes. It near broke my heart. But the money's still out there. We dug it up, we buried it in the garden, remember? Underneath the old round tree, it's still there. All the thousands of pounds. Oh. I've just left it there. It's a point. Because all I wanted was you back. The money wouldn't bring you back. So, it's still out there. I'd give anything to have you back, Agnes. I didn't get you back, did I? No, I didn't. Still, we'll need to come in and tell Lord Tom about that money. Yeah, he can dig it up. He can help put it towards the house. Maybe he'll not even need to sell it, you know. Maybe I can stay. That'd be good, wouldn't it? It's getting late. Yeah, I better go and see about these curtains. Oh. I must have done it already. I'm getting right for a gift. Oh. Oh, Agnes, I can almost smell you. You feel so close. I can smell your perfume. Oh. Too much exertion. The doctor warned me about that. Aye. Did I tell you, Agnes, I got a wee heart problem there. Well, I didn't tell her Tom. He's got enough on his plate with the house. I didn't want to worry him, but maybe I'll be seeing you sooner than we thought. Oh, that would be good, would it no, Agnes? Hey, maybe you can hear a word with the man upstairs. I was very close to him compared to all the other folk I know. almost like he had a personal connection. Aye, Agnes. Ask him for me. Ask him if I can D. D. I want to D. I mean it. Ask him if I can D, and soon. Aye, soon, Agnes, because I'm fed up. There's nothing left for me here. Nothing more to do. There's nothing to do. And I'm tired. Wabbit. Awfully wabbit. And fed up. This one day just wears into the next like a heavy mass of nothing. Bloody nothing! Oh, Agnes. Now, then you be telling me off. Just, it's like, I can hear you now. You've had enough, Davy. You'll no be happy till that bottle's finished. Agnes, it's just a trap. Just a trap. After all, he's a man. all the acquaintance be forgot, and never brought to mind? Should all the acquaintance be forgot, for all lang syne? For all lang syne, a joke, for all lang syne, we'll tack all kind of shit, for all lang syne. Now here's a hand I trust if you and oh, geez. Oh, Agnes.
Sorry, I'm dead sweaty. I know, not the most charming way to start a conversation, but I am. So it was either admit I'm dead sweaty, tackle it head on right off the bat, even though it's not very charming, or not say anything at all, just be this dead sweaty guy in front of you without acknowledging it, and then everyone would just be like, he's dead sweaty, are we not going to acknowledge this? And that's even less charming. So, I'm sweaty. Sorry. It's because I've been cleaning all day. Stuff I should have cleaned ages ago, really. I mean, who thought it was a good idea to get a house full of glass doors with a wee dog running around? You know? Those wee nose marks. You know, those wee nose marks? Every downstairs door in the house covered in those wee smudging nose marks. There's this guy I used to run into all the time when I was out walking Ayrshire. Oh, Archie's the dog's name. Aye, that was probably clear, wasn't it? It was hardly going to be my wee brother I was taking out for walks. But anyway, me and this man, when we see each other, we stop and we talk like old friends. Because even though I don't know his name, we are. When Archie was just a puppy, still bouncing on the lead and chewing at fingers with wee razor teeth, me and him would run into this man all the time when we were out walking in the cold. Me, with my bounding, bouncy ball of a pup, and him with his wise, small, delicate elder dog. And Puppy Archie wasn't careful of very much, but he was always careful of that wee dog. He bowed to him, you know, reverently. That way dogs do. And the man and I would chat. And even though the old dog died, the man keeps on going for the same walk. He has a routine, you know. He walks in his best friend's memory. That old dog has been dead for years and years now, but he still goes the walk. I've wondered a few times if he'd ever get a new dog. I guess the wee old fellow was irreplaceable, though. Last time I saw him, we stopped and chatted, and I asked him how he was doing. And he asked me about my job. And we both looked at the sky and worried about the storm rolling in over the sea. We talk all the time. Oh, and we will again when I see him next. Conversations we never would have had if we hadn't happened to meet because of that dog we both once knew. You know,
I've been hoovering all the carpets and all. Again, carpets with a dog. What were we thinking? You think you're getting it all the time when you hoover regularly, but the hoover doesn't get right into the skirting board. Actually, there's just this narrow, compacted line of shed dog hair clinging to every corner like insulation. Listen, I don't know hoover attachment's right, but whatever one is meant for dog hair in wee-tight corners, it doesn't work. And then I had to get all the hair off the back seat of the car. I tell you what, I need a cordless hoover, right? Because that was... aye. Not good. I ran into a woman like 2 months ago. And we stopped and we talked. I'd run into her hundreds of times before because she'd usually have her dog. That day, her dog wasn't with her. She had to go. On Monday, just past, we had to put her down. She told me as breezily as she could about how the dog's back legs had given out and how she couldn't walk and how the vet had been kind enough to put her to sleep in her favourite spot in their caravan where she contentedly lay. And she knew they were going on a long journey somewhere wonderful. And then the woman cried. And I hugged her. And she gave Archie a treat that was still in her jacket pocket. She said she'd still go a few walks every day in memory of her best friend. And when I see her, talk. Conversations we never would have had if we hadn't happened to meet because of her dog. We both want sleep. So, I'm cleaning. I should have done it months ago, but how can you? It's tough to clean up the last of the nose marks when you know there won't be any more made. Tough to hoover up the last of the dog hair. I think I'll leave one. You know? One wee smudgy nose mark. That won't hurt anyone, but if I leave one wee smudgy nose mark on one glass door, just so every time I see it, I can kid on, Archie put it there that morning, whatever morning it is, when he was asking to get out the back for a run around. I think today, after this, when I'm done with all this cleaning, I might go a walk in honor of my best friend. And maybe I'll see the man, or the lady, or both. I'll tell them Archie had to go. try not to cry. No promises. And maybe I'll see some of Archie's wee dog friends. And maybe I'll talk to their owners. And give them a wee treat still left in my... It's nice in a way, you know. It is nice to know there are people to miss my best friend too. Not just family, or people I've known for years, but people that might always have been complete strangers. People I never would have met if it weren't for a dog we both once knew.
Somewhere, end of the summer, tucked away in a corner of Ayrshire is a street. A street of many houses, many homes. The characters we met were dreamers, chancers, grafters, and those just getting by. We go now to our own streets, our own doors, and we remember, whoever we are, we live here, and we all have a story to share.